Well, Dodd-Frank is undoubtedly the biggest economic challenge, and I know that from talking to bankers throughout this district. Dodd-Frank was probably well-intentioned when it was put into place, but it was put into place because of the risks that our too-big-to-fail banks had incurred. The detriment is that a lot of the smaller banks have suffered dramatically. The compliance requirements, the administrative requirements have put an excess overhead burden on the banks, so they have less money to loan out to begin with. But to a further degree, we're used to be able to work with a community banker, and over a handshake they could give you a loan, whether you're just trying to make it to the next payday, you had a bad crop yield and you needed to get next year's crop in. They can't just do that on a handshake anymore. A computer program tells them whether they can or cannot loan you money. When they can't loan as much money out to small businesses, they can't grow and they can't provide the jobs that we need to grow our economy. So Dodd-Frank in itself is bad for this district. You have small towns that rely heavily on community banks, and when those community banks go away, and since 2010 we've lost over 1,300 community banks and over 1,200 credit unions in this country. When they all start going away and they're subsumed by the bigger banks, small towns become depositories and they won't have that private service that they've enjoyed for decades. The Panama Canal is about to reopen, and we are woefully behind in this area for establishing transportation network, the throughput infrastructure that we need. Maritime cargo traffic is supposed to double by 2040 according to certain estimates. And so we have major ports along this coast, Corpus Christi, Brownsville to the south, but then we have minor ports like Victoria, Port Lavaca, Bay City. Those ports are important, not just to this region and this district, but to the rest of America. We have to be able to move goods and services to the ports and from the ports. But if you don't have an efficient road and rail network that's established, just having cargo leave the ship and sit on a dock, that's money that's just sitting there. We need that to move to and from market, and we need to do it in a much more efficient manner than we're able to do today. But we need to be thinking 30 years ahead. Where are we going to be? Those decisions need to be made today, and that infrastructure put in place to support.